Hey guys, welcome into a very special edition of Pony Pundits. It does not get any more exciting than this as we get ready to break down the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby. And we're going to do it two guys who haven't run in 100 years. I'm only kidding. We're talking about the two Pony Pundits themselves, Marco D'Angelo and Sig in the house of WagerTalk.com. And welcome, gentlemen, here to what is always just an exciting week. A lot going on. And, of course, given everything over the last 12 months and how crazy things have been, it's nice to have the first week in May occupied by the Kentucky Derby at Churchill. So welcome in. It's going to be a profitable weekend here, guys. We got much to get to, but I want to start quickly, Marco, talking a little bit about a little birdie told me here. We got the 147th running in Kentucky Derby. And if I've heard it once, heard it a million times, you're in Vegas. You're the king of sports bet. You got everything. Only you can't bet the Derby in Vegas. Please explain to us, please.
Well, we are going to get to bet the Derby, but if we get a major cash, we're going to be in trouble because we're not going to get full track odds. And what has happened here, it happens every year, Joe. It's a game of chicken between Churchill Downs and the Nevada sports books. Churchill once paid more money. Vegas doesn't want to pay them more money. They want to pay them what they pay every other track. And they go back and forth. And generally at the 11th hour, they reach an agreement until last year. But last year, it was a little different. Vegas said, you know what? Screw you. It's not the first Saturday of May. It's the first Saturday of September because everything got pushed back because of COVID. And they said, you know what? We got something called college football that first Saturday in September. We really don't need it. So that was the first year that this has happened since I've been here, that we didn't have pari-mutuel wagering on the Kentucky Derby in Vegas. Now this year we're at the same crossroads still. They're at a standoff. And as of right now, we're not going to have pari-mutuel. Now what that means is that each casino has been granted, they can take wagers. But you're going to get track odds as long as it doesn't go over what the cap is. And the casinos will set a cap so they don't get destroyed if there are big long shots that come in here, which the whole reason of betting the Derby and why I say it's so much value, this is the plus EV event of the year because there are so much dead money in the Kentucky Derby being bet. And remember, unlike sports betting, you're not betting against the house. When you bet horse racing, you're betting against other horse bettors, and you divide that pool up with the winning tickets. The more money that's in that pool, the bigger that pie is to divide up. And, a few years ago, we hit that trifecta for almost $9,000 in the Kentucky Derby. Well, I might be SOL if I hit something big like that on Saturday here in Nevada, because there will be caps.
Wow, which just kind of it just kind of limits what may be for a lot of horse players and a lot of bettors. Obviously, not the recreational guys, Sig. That's why this is so much fun, right? You throw a couple of bucks, it's the Derby, you watch the race. Aren't you glad you moved to Vegas, Sig? Right around now, aren't you glad? Is it hitting you right now? What a good time is. But how much money are we talking here, Sig, in estimate? What are we looking at as a handle here on this race day?
I think on a typical Derby Saturday, they handle about $150 million in handle. That includes on-track and OTB bets from around the country and so forth. They are going to lose out a lot without the Nevada because it's not just the Kentucky Derby. I mean, it's an event. It's not like a typical Saturday where I'm playing Gulfstream or Churchill or Keeneland. It's the Kentucky Derby. Everybody tunes in. Everybody wants to have their Kentucky Derby parties. Everybody wants to get a couple bucks on either their favorite color or I like the name, or as Marco just talked about pie, we have soup and sandwich. A soup and sandwich guy wants to put a couple bucks down on soup and sandwich tomorrow. But there's so much dead money in there because people want to bet and they want to partake in the event. So that's usually what leads to our big payouts. Having no money coming from Nevada won't completely kill the polls, but it definitely won't help the polls either. I expect a bigger handle here being the first Saturday in May, and it comes down to greed between the Nevada Parimutuel Association and Churchill Downs Incorporated on the pay for the feed for the signal and how much of the takeout they're going to keep and hold back for each other. So hopefully they get this worked out here, because there's a lot of tracks that Churchill Downs is negotiating for here that we can't bet in Vegas, including Churchill, Oak Lawn Park, I believe Louisiana Downs now, and I know Indiana Grand's in there as well. So that's a lot of tracks off the board here for Vegas horse bettors, and hopefully we can get them back soon.
Just crazy. And what we should all be celebrating is a little slice of normalcy again here in 2021. And go figure, where they're arguing about money and leverage, which is really what it all comes down to, unfortunately. But listen, bottom line is, thank goodness for technology. There's a lot of different ways to skin that cat. So the Kentucky Derby, the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby, will go on. But before we get there, guys, we got a race on Friday, too, that's actually pretty big, too. And that is the Oaks, in fact, will be run on Friday, the day before the Kentucky Derby. And I know you guys, you've got some thoughts on that race that we're going to get to here. And before I ask for your selections in the Oaks, I do want to tell you guys a couple of things that are going on right now at WagerTalk.com with both of these gentlemen, including Marco D'Angelo. That's got a great opportunity for you guys right now. If you head over to WagerTalk.com, Marco has the opportunity that you can grab his entire Saturday card, all access Saturday, just $39 right now. If you head over to Marco's page, that's right. All plays, all sports, all the races, everything that he's got going on, and there's plenty going on right now in the world of sports. Visit Marco's page right now for $39. You can get them all on Saturday, or for just $30 more, you can give yourself the opportunity to grab a 3-day all-access pass with Marco. Again, all play, all sports, 3 days. Great opportunity for you there for $69. Both options are available at Marco's page at WagerTalk.com. And, of course, Sig is locked and loaded. He's like a kid in a candy store here, guys. He's been pacing back and forth all week like he's got his card ready. He is ready to go. In fact, you can get the full Derby card right now of Sig's. Normally, we're talking about a full day of racing here, usually $19.99, guys, $19.95. Right now, before midnight, Thursday night, $14.95 if you go ahead and visit Sig's page, WT.buzz. That's WT.buzz. This $14.95 / Sig, as you guys can see there. That'll take you directly to Sig's page and the opportunity to grab the card for $14.95 right now. All right, guys, let's dive into the Oaks. Much to get to here for the Derby, but let's start with the Oaks. And Marco, I will come to you first here. Talk to me about this race here, which I believe Todd Pletcher is going to have something to do with this race, isn't he? I'm just going to guess here. Give me your thoughts on the Oaks.
Yeah, well, Todd Pletcher, Bob Baffert, those names are always there for the big races. But as we'll see when we get to the Kentucky Derby, a newcomer, sort of a newcomer. He's been winning just about everything the last few last couple of years. Brad Cox is being a big force on the scene. We'll talk about some of his horses, but I am going to go to number 10 for my top choice in the Kentucky Oaks, and that is Malathot. This is a horse that has done nothing wrong. 4 for 4 is the morning line favorite. 5-2 is the horse to beat, and I have her on top. But I got to tell you, if you like this horse as much as I do like this horse, you got to kind of use another horse with it as well. And that puts me on the number 5 horse, Past the Champagne. And no, Sig and I are not in the VIP room passing the champagne. But if you look at that horse, ran a bang-up second to Malathot in the last race. So you can get 15-1 on Past the Champagne, who just got beat by a head, or you can go 5-2 for the favorite there. And so we're always looking for value. I have Pass the Champagne as my second choice, number 5. And then I rounded out my top 4 horses with number 12, Search Results. This is a horse, Chad Brown, another big name trainer on the scene, has this horse looking good, 3 for 3, another undefeated horse in the race, coming off 2 big speed figures in his last 2 starts, her last 2 starts, heading upward. As I say so often, with these horses that only have 3 or 4 starts heading into the Oaks or the Derby, they have a license to make that big jump again. And I don't think we've seen the best out of Search Results yet. And then the last one, number 3, Clairiere, 5-1. This is a horse, another one that has been ultra consistent, 4 lifetime starts, all 4 times, has been in the exacta, 2 wins and 2 seconds. Picks up Tyler Gaffleone. This is a jockey upgrade, in my opinion. No offense to Joe Talamo, but at this point in careers, Tyler Gaffleone, the better jockey. He gets the mount for this one, and I look for this filly from Steve Asmussen to race big on Friday. So for me, it's 10, 5, 12, 3 for my 4 horses in the Kentucky Oaks.
All right, go with the girls. That's what we're talking about here, Sig. Let me give me an idea here, Sig. I'm wondering how many of these horses you and Marco are going to agree on, and how many are we just going to have to take the gloves off in battle? So talk to us. Give us your top picks for the Kentucky Oaks here, Sig.
Joe, started right off the top here. Marco and I disagree. I got the horse that he didn't even use right on top. He mentioned Brad Cox. I got the 6 Travel Column. He's 3-1, your morning line. Brad Cox trained Laurent Giroux in the irons for him. They got the filly running really well. And the best fillies over the past few years have come out of that fairground circuit down in Louisiana here. And that's where Travel Column ran. She lost in the Rachel Alexandra to my second choice in here, the Clairiere, but then came back and beat her in the Fairgrounds Oaks pretty convincingly. I think she's coming out of better races, and I think she's in a good spot here. I think you're going to see a lot of money on Malthot, and because of the Fletcher connections, because he's undefeated, and because it's $1 million horse, frankly, you're going to see a lot of money on that horse. But I think she's vulnerable. I see Travel Column as winning this race here. My second choice in here I just mentioned too was Clairiere. Steve Asmussen trainee hit the gate at the start in the Rachel Alexandra, and she still got up to get the best of Travel Column, who, like I said, turned the tables on her. Tyler Gaffleone, again, like Marco said, got the mount here. And Asmussen's go-to jock was interesting is Ricardo Santana, and he stayed with Pauline's Pearl, who's also in this field here. But I really think Clairiere is the better of the two. Maybe the jockey decision is not the same as my decision. I did use Malthot at number 10. We already mentioned that. And then my fourth choice in here is 5 Pass Champagne. I think this flatter filly has a license to improve. She's been getting better with each race here. And she's, 15-1 the morning line. I think we're going to get much better than that at the windows. If you're looking for a long shot in tomorrow's Oaks, Pass the Champagne might be your horse.
Listen, I'm passing the champagne. I got a lot of fun stuff. Neither of you agree on the top choice. I love it, but at least we can agree on the champagne here. But we got much to get to here. The Oaks, of course, is Friday, guys. We still have the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby here with a monster field, 20 horses. So how many horses will Marco and Sig agree on for the Derby? Well, you're going to have to stick around to figure that out. We're going to take a short break. We will be right back with, of course, the breakdown of the favorites, the long shots, and, of course, their favorite picks for the Derby. We'll do that coming up next year on Pony Pundits.
Are you tired of games of the year and 100-unit locks? If so, check out the professional handicappers at WagerTalk.com today. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys. And for a limited time, new users get their first daily picks purchase up to $40 for only $1. $1? Whose idea was that? Johnny Detroit? I guess so. To redeem this special, just go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper and their picks package using coupon code TRYWagerTalk when checking out.
All right, guys, welcome back into Pony Pundits here, of course, powered by WagerTalk.com. Marco D'Angelo, Sig, I'm Joe Ranieri, the 147th running of the Derby on Saturday. We are excited, but we got much work to cover here, including going over some of the favorites, some of the long shots in this 20-horse field. And just a quick reminder before we dive in to our list of favorites here, guys. Both Marco and Sig opportunities to make it a profitable weekend here, both on the track at Churchill and, of course, around the sporting landscape, as Marco has his all-access $39 Saturday package ready to go. All sports, all plays on Saturday, just $39 right now. Visit Marco's page at WagerTalk.com, and let us not forget Sig. Man, oh man, when I tell you excitement beyond excitement, card ready to rock at Churchill. Also, just $14.95. You can grab that with Sig. $14.95. Get all of Sig's race card there for Churchill on Saturday, and you will be good to go. There it is. Full Derby card, just $14.95. However, hop on, guys. Get to WagerTalk.com before midnight Thursday night here, so you can hop on that savings. All right, guys. 20 horses. I'm shocked they couldn't fit in 10 more. Why not? At this point here, Marco, it's kind of crazy, but let's talk about some of the contenders first and foremost, Marco. And I guess we'll have to go first in there. Let's talk about essential quality. Why? Well, I'm a little favorite here towards essential quality. Also at 2-1 here, pretty much checks all the boxes, doesn't it? For a Derby winner, undefeated, runs close to the pace, won at Churchill. What is there not to like about essential quality here, Marco?
Well, there's really not a lot not to like. As you said, 5 for 5. The last race, he did have to work for the victory. Now, you can look at that as the glass half empty or half full. The good part is, yeah, he got up, first time faced adversity, and ground out the win, wearing down a highly motivated to stay undefeated. But did that race take too much out of him? You like to see a horse going into the Derby not peaking in. You want the gas tank full. I will say one thing about essential quality. The horse only had 2 starts so far this year. And the reason I'm going to point that out is because there is the old Breeders' Cup Juvenile jinx. If you win that race, the most prestigious race for 2-year-olds, you're automatically crowned, in the futures market as the favorite for next year's Kentucky Derby. And we've seen horses have not come back and lived up to that after winning the Juvenile. Why? Well, that race is late in November, and then you're coming right back generally and start back on the Derby trail in January or early February. Essential Quality got a late start this year. Part of it was due to weather conditions at Oaklawn. They had to move some races around. Track conditions were bad. So I think it was a good thing for this horse to only have 2 starts heading into the Derby for 2021. Be a little bit fresher and should be able to bounce back easier from that tough effort that we saw last time out. Buyer figures are improving. Last 3 starts, 95, 96, 97. That's what you want to see. He's the horse to beat. He should be 1-2. We'll see at the end of the show if I have him in the number 1 spot or maybe the number 2 spot.
Hell of a tease, Marco. That's what I am talking about here. All right, Sig. Your thoughts here on essential quality. Is it going to go off, you think, at post time? Is this going to be the favorite we're looking at?
Definitely, Joe. I mean, I think the public is going to see the undefeated Colt. He's going to see Brad Cox. They're going to see the 2-1 morning line. That influences a lot of people. They want to bet that favorite. They don't mind cashing a small ticket. I don't like cashing small tickets. I'd rather hit something more significant. But like we said, Brad Cox has his first 2 entrants. He's an up-and-coming trainer. I think he had 4 or 5 winners in the 2020 Breeders' Cup. Those races, those are some of the best racehorses in the world that come to the Breeders' Cup. So he's been training very well. These are his first 2. He has Essential Quality, and he has Mandaloon, who I don't think we're going to cover on today's show, but Mandaloon was actually his best 2-year-old. They had a lot of talk coming out into his 3-year-old season that Mandaloon might be the best 3-year-old he has. Essential Quality stepped up and showed that he has been, and he showed a lot of heart in the Bluegrass Stakes where he did come from behind. He almost had the race stolen from him by Highly Motivated. So I think he does deserve to be the favorite here, but there's a reason they run the races. And at this short price, he hasn't shown me enough to convince me that he is a lock in here. And I think he could be a vulnerable favorite, which I always like.
Yeah, little home field advantage here, Marco, is what we're looking at possibly there. Also pretty good in the slop, too. So that is number 14, Essential Quality. We're going to take a look at another Derby favorite here. Let's move on to number 15, Rock Your World. 5-1 morning line here. Joel Rosario really wanted this mount here, Sid. I'll go to you. Santa Anita Derby. Made his first start on the dirt track, right? After winning 2 on the turf. So here we go here. A lot of folks love this horse. How about you?
Well, Rock Your World was very impressive in that Santa Anita Derby. And his trainer, John Sadler, has not found any success. He's been a long-time trainer, has not found success in the Kentucky Derby. But this colt may change that for him. He's out of Candy Ride, so he's bred to run all day. So the added distance, the 1.25 miles for the Derby should not be a negative for him. It's actually a positive, I think. And like you just said, he won his first 2 career races on the turf before they switched to the dirt in the Santa Anita Derby. Another horse did that early in his career named Barbaro back in 2006. Started his career as a turf horse. Well, in the win the Kentucky Derby, was a pretty good horse in his career here. But Rock Your World, I think he likes to lead and be on the front in these races. I do see him going out early. I'm going to think Rosario likes to pull back and take his horse back and then make that late run. But I think this horse wants to be on the front. He hasn't raced from behind. He's either been on the lead or just off the lead in all his starts. I could see them trying to go to the front here and just trying to wire this field. He hasn't seen a field this tough yet in his career, so it might be a little tougher on him here. But I think you're going to get a nice price on this one Saturday. I love the way he's been working, and Rock Your World's definitely got to be in consideration as a win contender in here.
All right, Marco, I got to ask you, as the horse owner here of Pony Pundits, you're talking about a horse that's never raced a 2-year-old, and I don't believe ever had dirt kicked in its face either. And I don't think there's any guarantee that this horse is going to Rock Your World is going to go right to the front. So your thoughts on what are we got to worry about with Rock Your World?
Well, honestly, Joe, I don't think there's a lot to worry about because this horse reminds me, other than the starting on turf, and there was another Derby winner that started on turf, a horse that's very near and dear to my heart, and that was Animal Kingdom several years back. I think it was maybe 2010. Animal Kingdom was a horse that people didn't know if he was going to take to the dirt. Well, he took to the dirt, just fine and won the Kentucky Derby. This horse, the reference to Justify is the fact he did not race as a 2-year-old. Until Justify did that a few years back, there was only one horse that ever won the Derby that didn't race as a 2-year-old. Now, we're splitting hairs here with Rock Your World because he missed racing as a 2-year-old by 1 day. He raced on New Year's Day for his first start. So if that race would have been the day before, he technically would have had that 2-year-old start that everybody likes to talk about. But what I'm looking at, Joe, is if you look at the way this horse strided out in the Santa Anita Derby, this horse was meant to be on dirt. I really don't understand why they started him on the turf. I mean, yeah, he won both races, but he put the field away and won in hand. And you just watch the horse's strides, the way he handled that track, no problem with the dirt at all. The other big thing is he popped up a triple-digit buyer, put up 100 in the race. We haven't seen that from these other horses yet. So this is a horse that at 5-1 is heading in the right direction. you hear me talk about these horses with only 3 or 4 starts, they can make that big leap. Well, this horse hasn't hit a ceiling yet, and that's a little bit scary. Now, the side note to this horse does pick up Joel Rosario. Joel Rosario is one of the best jockeys in the country. And although he does like to race the horses from behind better, when he is put on the front end, he is a jockey that is able to get a horse to relax and be able to have that kick left at the end. Unfortunately, this is a business, and I got to feel bad for Umberto Rispoli, who did nothing wrong in his 2 rides with this horse. But the trainer and the ownership group made the decision when Rosario became available, which he was committed to Concert Tour Baffert's horse. When he became available, Sadler went to him, and, it's a tough decision. I've been on both ends of these jockey decisions where we make a decision or they make a decision. It's never easy. Sometimes there's hard feelings and everything. But if they did it, they think this horse really has a huge shot, and they want all of the options available to them, the best to get them to the winner's circle. And the only thing Rispoli, one of the top young riders in the country, doesn't have is that big race experience racing in the Kentucky Derby Triple Crown races, and they will get that with Rosario. I think this horse is very live on Saturday, and we'll leave the suspense to the end, but this might be the other one that I said is going to be the 1 or 2 for me.
Yep. Now it's hard to fault either one of them here, and we're not done. We got 2 more guys that are certainly Derby contenders. And we're going to move to number 1 here, Known Agenda. Now, of course, I'm a little partial here, Florida Derby winner. Sig, I'm going to come to you. We've got an improving 3-year-old here that I like the stalking running style. I think it's going to serve him well here at this distance, but the draw, it's number 1, Sig. That's the problem. That's the thing. 6-1 early line here. What do you think about Known Agenda and the number 1 post?
Well, historically, Joe, you're right. That dreaded post is the 1 post, but that was before last year. I know a lot of people didn't pay attention to the Derby last year. It was run the first Saturday in September and not the first Saturday in May. There were a lot of other things going on, like college football, baseball, basketball, and hockey are all going on at that time last year. So a lot of people didn't see that Churchill Downs actually invested in a 20-horse starting gate. You'll remember for all those years, they had the 14-horse gate, and they had what they called the auxiliary gate. So there was a space between the 14 and the 15. That kept the 1 down. So when the 1 horse broke, he was actually looking and running directly at the rail, which spooked a lot of horses in that 1 spot. The last horse to win from that 1 post, if I'm correct, was 1986 in Ferdinand. So it's been a long time since a horse won from that 1 post. But with this new starting gate, the horse, when he breaks, I've been told, does not look at the rail coming out. He should have a straight shot, and I think he should get out pretty well here. I think that St. Elias Stables has gone 2 for 2 since trainer Todd Pletcher added blinkers. He had a really poor start in the Sam Davis Stakes at Tampa in February that left him way too much work. He was picking up spots at the end here. So then he came out, won an allowance, and then came in and looked very impressive in his Florida Derby. And the Florida Derby's produced the most Kentucky Derby winners of all the Derby preps, with 24 winners coming from winning the Florida Derby and then coming out and making the next step to win the Kentucky Derby. This is definitely one to have on your exotic tickets on Saturday. I think Irad Ortiz aboard for Pletcher is always a good thing, and I think he's going to get him out of the gate here quick, and he should be stalking this early pace.
Pletcher, Ortiz, Florida Derby, Marco. We know all about this. It certainly has everything. Although some people are saying, I don't know if he's going to win the Kentucky Derby, but watch out for him in the Belmont here. What do you think about Known Agenda?
Yeah, you look at his and with his breeding, definitely cries Belmont. And Joe, the 2 for 2 in the last 2 races with this horse, granted, one of them was a cheap race, but he did come back and race extremely well in the Florida Derby. Guess what? They put blinkers on this horse. We know we love horses when they put the blinkers on, and that helped this horse. But here's the problem. I still say, even though the rail is not as bad as it used to be, There's no question about that. Sig explained that perfectly. This is still a 20-horse field, and this horse doesn't have that snap off the gate speed to get position. And if you go back and watch the Florida Derby, this horse was down along the rail the entire race, and that's fine. That's where he's going to be probably again in this race. But everything worked perfectly in the Florida Derby. He never had to check the horse, had the ground-saving trip around the rail, and when it was time to make his move, well, the Red Sea parted for him. He swung off the turn and was able to get back to the outside and pass horses. He didn't have to come up the inside. With a larger field and having horses that, will be stopping in front of them and horses that have started their move from behind and will have a jump on them because they'll be on the outside, he may not be able to get back off the rail as easily as he did in the Florida Derby. And that could be a problem for him getting up for the win. Is he a horse you got to look at on the exotics, the Exacta, Try, and Superfecta? Absolutely. I just don't think he's going to get the right trip to get him to the winner's circle. But he is definitely a horse to use on your tickets on Saturday.
All right. Well, we do have one more contender, guys, that we'll go over. And then we do have some long shots as well that you are certainly going to need to pay attention to. But, Marco, I'll come back to you. Let's talk about number 9, Hot Rod Charlie, 8-1. Listen, if there's anybody who knows how to win here, it's Doug O'Neill, right? So we got 6 Derby winner, 6 entrants. He's won 2 of them. I believe one was I'll Have Another, and Nyquist. Also a horse that seems to, I think he's won at a distance longer than anybody else in this race. Your thoughts on Hot Rod Charlie at 8-1?
Yeah, he's coming off a very impressive win last time out, Hot Rod Charlie. Now, the funny part of that is that win, he had Joel Rosario on him. Now, you look at this, and we always talk about a handicapping factor to jockeys, when they have options, the horse they choose, you think would be the horse they have the best shot of winning the race with, because that's how they make their money. Joel Rosario, after back-to-back wins with Hot Rod Charlie, and even though Concert Tour, who he was committed to, is not in this race, he opted to get to the other horse in this race, Rock Your World. So apparently Joel Rosario thinks this one's better, or excuse me, the other horse is better, but I can't, picking up Flavian Pratt, you're not losing much there. Pratt's been one of the most dominating jocks on the West Coast the last couple years, has Kentucky Derby experience as well. I like this horse. He showed a lot of gameness to me in his start 2 back. If you go back and watch that race, he dueled between horses, had a horse on the inside of him, horse on the outside of him, and those 3 battled right to the wire. Well, in a setup like that, the horse in the middle is getting the worst of it, and he still fought gamely to the wire. In his next race, I said it, if he would have been on the outside in the race 2 back, he wins it. Well, he was out in the last one, and he won it convincingly. Hot Rod Charlie is a horse on the improve. Look at the speed figures. They have been improving. I like this horse. I think he's got to be used on the ticket. This is a horse that's going to get a decent price because the other horses are going to get more attention. And I think some people will look and see that Rosario factor that he opted for the other horse, and that's going to help this one's odds. But don't sleep on Hot Rod Charlie. This is a horse that'll be on the ticket on Saturday.
Yeah, they all seems to be coming together there, Sig, for Hot Rod Charlie, 8-1. Doug O'Neill, 2 of 6, right? Not a bad percentage to win this race. If anybody knows how to win, he does. What do you think of Hot Rod Charlie?
Yeah, Doug O'Neill definitely knows how to win the Kentucky Derby here. And Hot Rod Charlie was slow to develop. It took him 4 attempts to break his maiden as a 2-year-old, but then he closed out his 2-year-old season very impressively. If you guys remember, he ran second to Essential Quality, and at one point it looked like he might actually take down the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He was 94-1 that day. So I mean, nobody was looking at him. I think the same thing, not to that extent, is going to happen on Saturday because he ran the Louisiana Derby, which is back on, I believe, March 20th. So he's had the 6-week break here. We've had the Florida Derby. We've had the Santa Anita Derby, the Bluegrass Stakes, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, the Arkansas Derby. Basically, he won the first 100-point prep race. He's been on the shelf or on a layoff basically since then. So he should come in here fresh. I think that he's fast or faster than Essential Quality. And like we said, he ran just second to Essential Quality in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I think Hot Rod Charlie's a definite contender in here, and I think he's going to be overlooked. And I think you're going to see better than an 8-1 come Saturday.
Well, there you go, guys. We've got 4 Kentucky Derby contenders we just went over. We've got 4 long shots you're going to need to know about as well. Consider the exotics, people. Consider the exotics. And we'll go over those 4. We'll do that coming up here next on Pony Pundits here, powered by WagerTalk.com.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, welcome back in here to Pony Pundits as we continue to break down the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby coming up this Saturday. Marco D'Angelo, Sig, Joe Ranieri, want to thank you guys for joining us. We talked about 4 Derby contenders, couple of favorites there. Now we're going to shift the focus to 4 long shots that have a chance here, certainly when it comes to hitting the board and forming out some of those exotics for you. These 4 horses you are going to want to know about. But before we dive into those, quickly, just want to remind you, Marco, right now at WagerTalk.com, you can hop on and get an all-access Saturday pass with Marco for just $39. That's right, just $39. Visit Marco's page, all plays, all sports this Saturday, including all his picks, whether it be a Churchill or whatever track, just $39 right now. You can also get a 3-day pass all access for just $69. Bottom line, visit Marco's page now at WagerTalk.com. And Sig is locked and loaded here, guys, at Churchill, ready to go. What a weekend of racing it is going to be. He's got your full Derby card, just $14.95 right now, but you got to solidify it, get it done now, order it before midnight Thursday night for your chance to get every one of his plays. $14.95 at Churchill. It's a huge day of racing coming your way. Nobody I would want in my corner more than these 2 guys. All right, let's start with some long shots here, and we'll take a look at number 16 to start off with. And Sig, I'll come to you. King Fury, 20-1 shot. I think ran, 3 weeks ago here. The bottom line is this horse is going to be flying at the end. So is he going to be flying enough for you in order to hit the board is the question.
Joe, I think he definitely has a shot to here to make some tickets. Definitely hit the board. Has a shot to definitely hit the board at least. At 20-1 here, he didn't make his first start of 2021. So it's just 3 weeks ago at Keeneland in the Lexington. Basically backed his way into the Derby. That was only a 20-point race in the Lexington. And with the defections of a lot of horses, I mean, if you take a look at the list of 3-year-olds that aren't running in this Kentucky Derby, you'd have one hell of a race. There's some horses like Baffert's Life is Good and Concertor aren't here. Horses like Jackie's Warrior, who was a very impressive 2-year-old, might be a little shorter. Horses like Reinvestment Risk, Greatest Honor, all aren't in this Derby field. But a horse like King Fury did make the field. And what I like about him is a couple things. First, for trainer Ken McPeak, who found success last year with Swiss Skydiver, I think he's got a lot more confidence in his training, and he has a horse like King Fury here, who's only made 1 start this year. It was 3 weeks ago in the Lexington. As a 3-year-old, it gives him room to improve and make a step forward here. He also has jockey Brian Hernandez. And when he comes to Churchill Downs, there's a couple of jockeys that you got to always pay attention to. One's Brian Hernandez. The other one's Corey Laneri. I know Marco's a big fan of Corey Laneri. He rode his long shot a few years back into that huge trifecta score that they made. But I do question whether he's going to be King Fury can bounce back here on 3 weeks rest when some of these horses have had 4 or 5, or a horse like Hot Rod Charlie's going to be off 6 weeks. But the fact that he hasn't run any other races in 2020, I think he will be a fresh horse. I think he's got a big shot in here, and I think you're going to do a lot better than 20-1 come post time.
Marco, listen, with the right trip, we know he's going to be able to pass a couple of tired horses here. Is it enough for you, though, with King Fury?
Yeah, I'm not as high on this horse as my partner in crime is. And my mom always told me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, I tried to find something nice. And the one thing that I can say in this horse's favor, and Sig did point it out, is he only has one start this year. That's the good thing. Definitely licensed to improve. My problem with King Fury is his style of racing is going to be bringing him from behind. 20 horse field. He's got post 16. He's going to have to come from the clouds. He's going to have to deal with a lot of road traffic and going to need an honest pace in this race for him to be able to close into. That's something that people really don't think enough about. When you look at a closer and you say, oh, well, they're going, at a distance, going in the longer distance. This is the furthest that any of these horses have gone in their career so far. So a horse that likes to close should benefit. Well, in theory, that sounds good, but you still need to get an honest pace up front. These horses can only go so fast. And if you're coming from, way back, you got to make up ground on those front runners. And to make up that ground, they got to be going slower in the second half than they are in the first half. So I've got some concerns with him. My other concern is the horses that he beat. Yes, he snuck in here and he did win the Lexington. That was not a strong field at all. He's had 6 starts. He's got 3 wins. That part is good, 50% win ratio. The problem is the 3 races that he didn't win, he also was nowhere to be found, didn't hit the board. That's a little bit of a concern. He's raced twice in grade 1s and finished up the track in both of those. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to have to make a big jump. This is a horse that already does have 6 starts, so it's not like one of those ones in his career that only has 3 or 4 starts and maybe still has that big jump in him. I'm just not sold as much on this one as Sig is, and I'm sure when we get to another one, he'll say the same about one of mine.
That's your assy, Will. All right, so we're going to move on here to the next one here. I know these two guys. Trust me, guys, it's a long way from being over yet. Let's move on to another live long shot here on the Derby. We're going to concentrate on number 17 now. Highly motivated. And Marco, I'll come back to you quick because Castellano and Chad Brown, they've never won a Kentucky Derby, right? Maybe, just maybe this time here. Almost beat Essential Quality. Actually pretty impressive there at the Bluegrass. What do you think here? Opportunity to shock the world here, or at least hit the board?
Well, obviously, if you like Essential Quality, you got to give this horse a big look because he gave Essential Quality everything that you could ask for. He dominated the race. They changed racing strategy a little bit in that one. They raced the horse aggressively. Now, we got to point out, they needed to get points in that race. So they had to race aggressively to get their way into the Derby. The other thing I like about this horse, he showed a lot of grit in that race. And this is a horse that has 5 career starts, 5 for 5 hitting the board, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. But more importantly is this will be the horse's 3rd start this year. Now, the horse raced up until in November last year, and then they gave the horse a break all the way to March. Generally, you do not see a 3-year-old making his first start in March and getting in the starting gate in that first Saturday in May. But that long layoff and then having 2 starts, I've said it over and over again, and I can tell you it's the truth. I see it with my horses. The 3rd start off a long layoff is generally the best start for a horse. That's when the horse is going to be his tightest, and you're going to see the peak performance. I think Highly Motivated is a horse that has to be considered on your tickets, and is going to get lost a little bit in the shuffle with the odds. And if you look at the horse, he's trained well since coming into this race. This is a horse that 10-1 deserves a look. Might get bet down a little lower than 10-1 because I think a lot of people are going to make that comparison. Hey, if you like essential quality at 2-1, why do you not like highly motivated at bigger odds? And it becomes the value play at 10-1, which could cost us a little bit at the betting window and see this horse dip down.
Impressive to say the least here, Sig. His first effort around 2 turns. He's got a second shot at it here at the Derby. Towards the front, you think? Towards the leaders? How do you like highly motivated's chances?
Yeah, I think highly motivated is going to be up near the lead early in this one. I don't think he'll be on the lead. But what we haven't talked about yet, Joe, is that he's through post 17. And in Kentucky Derby history, there's only one post that a winner's never come from, and that is post 17. Highly Motivated is actually a horse that Marco and I both agree is a live long shot in here. He disagreed on my previous one on King Fury. He was very impressive in the Bluegrass Stakes, leading the majority of that race before like Essential Quality nipped him there at the line late. And while Chad Brown's best known for his turf horses, don't forget, guys, he did finish second in the Derby a few years back with Good Magic. Highly Motivated can make a step forward off of his last effort. He definitely could be a factor. My only concern is, and Marco touched on it too, is he needed those Derby points in the Bluegrass. They had to go all out there. So a lot of times a horse in his prep race may not be fully tuned up. I'm sure Chad Brown had that horse tuned up so he could get him in the Derby gate. He might have a slight regression off of that, but I still think Highly Motivated is a horse to watch on Saturday.
All right, highly motivated it is. We'll move on to number 10. How about Midnight Bourbon? What do we got? 20-1 here, early line. Then picks up Mike Smith, and got to be one of the most consistent, if nothing else, here, Sig. One of the most consistent horses here in the field. I think he's hit the board, 7 times? Mike Smith, Midnight Bourbon, 20-1. What do you think?
Joe, I think you could never go wrong with a Midnight Bourbon. Am I right?
Amen, brother. Amen. That's correct. Yeah.
Seriously, yeah. This colt, you're right, has danced all the dances on that Louisiana Derby trail. He won the Lecomte over Mandaloun and Proxy, came back and ran third to Mandaloun and Proxy in the Risen Star, and then he chased Hot Rod Charlie all the way around the fairgrounds track to complete the exacta in the Louisiana Derby. This Steve Asmussen trainee at his now does pick up the services, like you said, of Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. He doesn't ride for Steve Asmussen often, but when he does, they are in the money basically all the time. He needs to be on your exotic tickets based on his consistency. I would be surprised if he won this race here, but not surprised at all if he hits the board here. I love Midnight Bourbon.
What do you think, Marco? Anytime we're talking about Mike Smith, it's always going, oh boy, it should be an interesting ride for Midnight Bourbon. What do you think?
Yeah, I wonder, Joe, you can bet what they call the Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby Daily Double.
Ooh.
Do you want to pass the champagne and follow it up with a Midnight Bourbon? Little hunch play?
I'm already half in the bag. I'm already half in the bag. Don't be giving me champagne and bourbon now. My goodness, man. But I love the way you're going with that. I love it.
Yeah, no problem. And hey, you know what, guys? This just in. Sig gave you a great stat about no horse winning from post 17. Word has it, they're highly motivated to stop that streak. But moving on to this one, Midnight Bourbon.
Like a king.
Midnight Bourbon, yeah, this is the type of horse that's an honest horse. He gives you everything he's got every time out. He's hit the board in all of his 7 career starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 3 thirds, and comes out of the circuit of prep races that quite honestly might have been the most competitive. The 3 races that came through the fairgrounds, we had a different winner in all of those races. They just kept taking turns beating up one another. So you could either say, well, it's mediocre and they all took turns winning, or you could say it's a very deep field that was racing in those races and they took turns. This is a horse that's got tactical speed, something you always want, has post position 10, is going to break from the middle of the pack, has that tactical speed that Mike Smith can decide where he wants to be. He's going to be on the inside of the big horses, of course, Essential Quality and Rock Your World and Highly Motivated, who all have speed, but can find his way down, break sharp, get himself to the rail, and maybe sit just off the pace and be able to be a first run at the top of the stretch. I like this horse on the ticket. Use him in your exotics. I just don't think he's quite as good as a couple other horses in here as far as the win goes. But I definitely think Exacta, Trifecta, Superfecta, this is a horse you need on your ticket.
All right, guys, we got one more here we're going to take a look at as far as the live long shots. And then, of course, we'll get to Marco and Sig's cards, what they like best at the Kentucky Derby. Let's look at the number 11 horse, Dynamic One. 20-1 early line here. Finished second at the Wood. Unfortunately, was run down by a 72-1 shot there. And, Marco, I'll come back to you. You're going to have a lot of speed in this race setting the table. It's a closer. Will he have enough closing ability to hit the board here, do you think?
Yeah, the difference with this horse is he's not a stone cold deep closer. He is a closer, but he does have a little bit of tactical speed, which should put him in the middle of the pack and be able to pick his spot when he wants to make that move. Now, going into the Wood, I really wasn't that impressed with that field. And as you said, we had a 72-1 shot win the Wood Memorial. That horse that won that race happened to be this horse's stablemate, another horse out of the Todd Pletcher barn. This was a race that Jose Ortiz, when they broke from the gate, was trying to get position, but just got outran to the turn, got caught wide in the turn. As they were heading into that turn, the horse in front of him kind of forced him to pull up a little bit. Jose had to grab the reins and check him. Now, got caught wide, got checked, and then was still able to relax and settle going down the backside. And Jose gradually creeped him up into position. And on the far turn, coming out of the turn, slingshotted to the lead. And quite frankly, I think, not that he ever makes many mistakes, I think Jose had this race won, in his opinion, and got caught sleeping, didn't see the horse coming from the clouds. How could you? The horse went from dead last to pass them all in the stretch, and then was flying on the outside where Dynamic One was back towards the inside, and just saw him too late to get Dynamic One back fired up to hang on for the win. I think this horse has another gear left, can make a move forward. Do I think he can win this race? No. But I think at a big number can run on this ticket and help get us a good payout with the trifecta and superfecta. So Dynamic One, we always talk about these horses from the big trainers that have multiple entries. Sometimes it's the horse you don't expect. It's the other Todd Pletcher that has a big shot in here.
Well, and that's the question here, Sig, right? If he couldn't catch, couldn't hold off Probonic, what's he going to do with these horses in this field? But what do you think of the chances of hitting the board?
Well, Joe, Marco and I took turns picking these live long shots here, and I'm not impressed with Dynamic One, so you can guess who picked them. Like he said, he briefly took the lead here in the Wood Memorial before getting passed by that late charging Bourbonic, who was his stablemate. And they may have been impressed with Exacta. I mean, when a Todd Pletcher Exacta pays over $400 in a major stakes race like that, neither of these horses were getting a lot of attention at the windows. But if you go back and look, they made the Wood Memorial back in 1952. They changed it to 1.1 miles, extended the distance out. Since 1952, when they extended that distance out, that was the slowest Wood Memorial they've had in 70 years. So I don't think either of those horses is going to be a factor in here. I don't think anyone coming out of that New York circuit is going to be a factor in here. And Dynamic One, to me, is not going to be very dynamic, and he'll be an also-ran, in my opinion.
There you go, guys. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 live long shots. You've got yourself also 4 contenders. So which horses are what now? What is going to show up on both Marco and Sig's card? We'll go over it coming up next here on Pony Pundits, powered by WagerTalk.com. Come back for the card. We'll do that next.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, welcome back in here to Pony Pundits here, powered by WagerTalk.com. It is that time. That is right, to dive into what the cards are going to look like for both Marco and Sid here for the 147th running of the Kentucky Derby. We gave you contenders, we gave you long shots. So, Sig, when you put it all together, what does the card look like for you this weekend?
Well, Joe, I landed on, if you watched the earlier videos, when we talked about the contenders, I might have sort of hinted at, or you might have guessed at, Rock Your World is where I landed at here as my top choice for the Derby. I think this colt has a lot more upside than we've seen, but the question is really going to come down to his stamina, and I expect him to be near or on the lead early in this race, and I think they're going to just try to wire the field and see if he can go the distance and outrun everyone. Like we talked about, Rosario does like to take his mounts back early, but in this case, I think he's going right to the front, and they're going to go as far as they can and hope that they can just basically lead the field all the way down here. I think he's going to get a little challenge early on from Medina Spirit, the Badford horse. I think he's going to also go to the front here. And if he does try to give him a battle early, I think it could definitely hurt him in the stretch run. But as long as Joel Rosario gets on the lead here and he's coming down the stretch, if he doesn't look back, please hear me, Joel. Do not look back. Just keep going forward. I think they got a good chance to win this race here.
What is that, Joel? Joel's on line 2, wants to talk to you right now if he could. Go ahead, Marco. You saw his 4 horses here now, Marco. Talk to us. What does your card look like?
Well, the top 3 looks exactly the same. Rock Your World, Essential Quality, and Hot Rod Charlie. And I'll be honest with you guys, those are going to be the 3 horses that, I am keying off of in this race. Now, I think this race is wide open on the bottom side of the tickets. And you want to spread yourself out in those bottom areas because that's how you get these big payouts. And I'm going to give you a bomber here. I could go the safe route and I could give you chalk, but I'm not going to go that route. And I'm going to go to number 5, Sainthood. We haven't talked about this horse at all. 50-1. Why do I like this horse? Well, he fits that mold of a horse that's lightly raced and has the big jump left in him. This horse has only raced 3 times. He's been in the money all 3. 3 for 3 with the exacta, 1 win in 2 seconds. What really impressed me was the horse's last race. If you go back and watch the replay of that race and focus solely on Sainthood, this horse just was making his move, had an opening, was ready to shoot through, and 2 horses in front of him collide. And he had to literally grab up, almost went to a standstill. I mean, he slammed the brakes so hard, you thought the horse was stopping. And then he re-engaged. Most horses do not do that, especially a horse that was only his 3rd career start. And that's why I'm saying this horse has a license to make a big, big jump on Saturday. And I don't want to be sitting on the sidelines saying, you know what, I saw that trouble that he had. I saw the way he re-engaged and rallied to be second, a hard-charging second, and left him off my ticket. 50-1 will sweeten up a trifecta and a superfecta, and that's why I'm adding Sainthood on my ticket. And oh, by the way, who was riding this horse? Corey Lannery, one of my all-time favorite jockeys for the rest of my life, because he brought Looking at Lee at about the same number home for me in that $9,000 trifecta. And yes, he knows how to get away, to get around this track, knows how to hug the rail when he needs to and find a hole when he needs to. That's why I threw him on the ticket as the big bomber so that we can get one of those big pays. We all look for those ones where we got to sign a ticket for Uncle Sam to get his slice of the winnings.
Funny, Windstar, CHC, they had another horse too. Oh yeah, Justify. Also didn't run as a 2-year-old. Just saying, who knows? History might repeat itself there at 50-1. Certainly something you guys may want to take a look at. Well, that does it here, guys. I mean, let's face it. We gave you exotics. We gave you long shots. We gave you some of the Derby contenders. They yelled at each other a couple of times, made fun of each other. They gave you the Oaks. Woo! Got a lot going on here. But once again, guys, do want to remind you, the fun doesn't stop here. It also starts by cashing tickets this weekend. And how do you do that? It's simple. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of Marco's all-access Saturday package for just $39. That's all plays, all sports, all races. Doesn't make a difference. $39. Or you can get 3 full days of all access. Again, all plays, all sports for $69. Just head over to Marco's page. And if you want access to Sig's full racing card here this Saturday at Churchill, and it is going to be one hell of a day of racing here, you guys can go ahead right now. Head over to Sig's page, wt.buzz/Sig. Get that Derby card, $14.95, but you got to take advantage of it before midnight on Thursday night. Otherwise, it goes to $19.95. Take advantage, $14.95 right now, heading over to Sig's page at WagerTalk.com. So there you got it, guys. The 147th running of the Kentucky Derby. Exciting stuff. It's a good time of year, first weekend in May. And, of course, we'll be back because we got it's Triple Crown season here, guys. We got a few other races coming up down the road. We'll be back to cover them all for you. And on behalf of Marco D'Angelo and Sig, I'm Joe Ranieri. Guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Subscribe to the page and come back and join us again for another edition of Pony Pundits. Best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you again soon.